Hey guys, on CNN's State of the Union today, Tom Homan was straight up asked whether or not AOC should be prosecuted over the webinar that she did for illegal immigrants.
Adam says that you aren't looking into New York schools or churches as you hunt for undocumented immigrants. Did you make that commitment to him?
What me and Mr. Adams talk about is telling the truth that the left has tried to scare the American people. We ended the sensitive location policy for one reason, because we're the only federal law enforcement agency that had those type of requirements. What I made clear to Mayor Adams is that we're not raiding schools, we're not raiding churches, we're not raiding college campuses. But if we have a significant public safety threat, or national security, that let's say, for instance, an MS-13 member who's a senior in high school, who's wanted for drug distribution or strong arm robberies, we will go to that school and arrest that MS-13 member with the help of the local authorities. It's not about raiding school, it's about arresting one bad guy where we know he is and not let him escape back into the community. That's what discussion we had.
I just want to take this conversation more broad and talk about how it's going so far with the president's promise, multiple promises on immigration and deportation. You've said roughly 14,000 migrants have been arrested in the first month of this administration, and that's well below the 1,500 daily arrests that the president says he wants to see. You're getting support from across the federal government, from the FBI, from DEA, from U.S. Marshals, even the military. What's the struggle? Why are you struggling to get those arrests where President Trump wants them?
Well, we got to remember the interior arrests conducted by ICE in the interior of the United States is 2.5 times higher than they were a year ago during the Biden administration. So ICE is doing a great job. I'm not happy with the numbers because we got a lot of criminals to find. So what we're talking about right now, we're increasing the number of teams, increase the targeting, the division of ICE that creates a target list of, finding who these people are, what their criminal history is, and where we're most likely to find him. We got to increase the targeting production. So we're doing that now. We're increasing the targeting. We're increasing the teams out there in the field. And finally, I'll be honest with you, sanctuary cities are causing us a lot of work. And rather than arresting a bad guy in Rikers Island, we have to go to the neighborhood and find them, find people that don't want to be found. It is hard because rather than one man arresting one bad guy in a jail, we got to send a whole team to the field to find somebody that doesn't want to be found. And so it's hard work, but we're not giving up. We're coming. Again, the numbers are a lot higher than they were during the Biden administration, but we got to do more. And I've been real clear on that. And that's why we're making the operational changes now that I've requested.
You went after Democratic Congresswoman Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez for hosting a webinar for immigrants called Know Your Rights with ICE. Are you suggesting that she should be prosecuted?
I'm suggesting, and I'd ask the Department of Justice, where's that line on impediment, right? It's a broad statute. So I know impeding with someone stopping in front of me and putting their hands on my chest so you're not coming in here and arrest that guy, that's clearly impeding. But at what line, where's the line on impeding? So I'm asking the Department of Justice, who are the prosecutors, and decide who they prosecute and what the standards of that prosecution is. I simply says, at what point is that impeding? Because you can call it know your rights all you want. We all know what the bottom line is. The bottom line is how they invade law enforcement. Don't open your door. Don't answer questions. Here's what we're talking about. We're talking about people here in the country legally with a criminal conviction who had due process at great taxpayer expense and were ordered deported by a federal judge, but became a fugitive. And we're talking about don't open your door to ICE. You don't have to answer questions. I think it's more about how to invade law enforcement, not to get arrested, even though there's a federal warrant for your arrest. How to evade that rather than know your rights. Now, we can argue about that all day long. They have the right to know their rights. The Constitution said they have the right to certain rights, but also I hope to God we're not, educating people are going to be the next murder of a college student. I've said it before. If we would have had access to the man who murdered Laken Riley in New York, he would never make the Georgia killer.
Let me just, to be fair, she said that
public safety threats escaping.
She said that she is just offering civil education and that you might be, quote, vaguely familiar with the U.S. immigration law, but that she's just doing what she needs to do to remind people the law of the land passed by congressional statute.
Vaguely aware of immigration law. I've done this since 1984. I forgot more about the immigration law than AOC will ever know. Matter of fact, the hearing a couple years ago, I had explained to her that entering the country illegally was actually a crime. So, I'm not going to play that game with her. I simply made a statement. When you sit down with people who are wanted by us, criminal aliens that have been ordered to be deported from the United States government, and ignore that order, if you and I ignored that order, we'd be sitting in prison. But they ignored an order from a federal judge. They're hiding in a home, and she's telling them not to open the door. Now, I'm not saying that's illegal. What I'm saying is, I asked the Attorney General, what point is it impeding and what point is it not impeding? So I'm simply, as a board, asking the Office of the Attorney General, where does it draw the line? So we make sure we give ICE agents the proper standard when they go to these homes. They don't open the door. At what point can you open the door? At what point can't you open the door? Mm-hmm. So we just want to be sure that ICE officers are doing the right thing. So this is about talking to Attorney General, because every Attorney General interprets things different. What is your interpretation of impeding? Where's that line at? I think it's a responsible thing to do as the borders are of the United States, to make sure the men and women of ICE understand what they can and can't do.
Yeah, and of course, right now, being undocumented is a civil offense and not a criminal one, unless you commit those crimes. Thank you so much, Tom Homan, for being here. Appreciate your time.
Okay, now, guys, before we dive in, do me a big favor. Be sure to like this video so more people can see the truth about what's happening with our immigration system. It helps out with the YouTube algorithm, so I appreciate it. All right, let's get into it. Tom Homan, despite, guys, what the media and leftist politicians claim, Homan made it clear that ICE is not raiding schools, churches, or college campuses. He's not, unless there's a serious public safety or national security threat. He gave an example. If an MS-13 gang member wanted for violent crimes is hiding out in a school, ICE will act. This isn't about targeting innocent students. It's about keeping dangerous criminals off the streets. I don't understand why we can't get behind this. Homan pointed out the sanctuary cities force ICE to hunt down criminals in neighborhoods instead of simply arresting them in jail. Instead of one officer picking up a convicted felon at Rikers Island, ICE now has to send an entire team into the community, risking the safety of officers and innocent citizens. Guys, quick question for you. Should local governments be allowed to defy federal immigration laws and let dangerous criminals go free? Just throwing it out there. What do you think? Homan revealed that ICE arrests under Trump are 2.5 times higher than during the Biden administration. Trump is serious, guys, about enforcing our immigration laws and getting our criminals off the streets. The left calls it cruel. Is it really cruel to protect American citizens from illegal aliens with violent records? Do you think that Trump's approach to immigration is the right one? What should be done about sanctuary cities that refuse to cooperate? Let me know what your thoughts are, guys. AOC held a Know Your Rights webinar teaching illegal immigrants how to evade ICE. Homan directly calls this out, asking if our actions cross the legal line into obstruction of justice. He even reached out to the Department of Justice to clarify whether AOC could face legal consequences. Guys, should members of Congress be helping illegal immigrants evade law enforcement? Should AOC be investigated for this? Just throwing it out there. Question for you. I'm not saying she should. I'm just asking the question. AOC mocked Homan, saying that he's only vaguely familiar with immigration law. What was his response? He's been enforcing these laws since 1984. He said he's forgotten more about immigration law than AOC will ever know. That's kind of a mic drop moment. He even had to educate her in a congressional hearing where she didn't know entering the U.S. illegally was a crime. Guys, should people like AOC, who clearly don't understand the law, be the ones that are shaping our immigration policies? Tom Homan isn't backing down. He's exposing how sanctuary cities, weak immigration policies, radical leftist politicians are putting American lives at risk. The mainstream media won't cover this the right way, but we will. And that's why I started the channel, guys. And I want to hear from you, because I want to build a community, guys. I don't want it all to come from me. We're building a community. So make sure you're subscribed, join the community. Let me know in the comments, should AOC be held accountable for her actions? Are sanctuary cities making America less safe? What do you think about Trump's immigration strategy? Drop a comment down below. Let's talk about it. And guys, support the channel. Become a member. Consider it. It helps out. It helps us bring the truth the media won't show. So click that join button and be part of the movement, guys. Let's make a difference for our country and for the greater world. All right, guys. Y'all have a great one, and I'll see you later with another update.